Good morning, class. I want to go over the two types of problems that we worked on yesterday. There has been a few questions that I had received on this, and I want to just go over a couple of examples that you may find helpful as you study tonight for your test tomorrow. So basically, we have two types of problems that I'll be covering. The first type will be the shared work problem. The second type will be the average speed problem. So in the example here, which is a shared work problem, and again, all of these basically have the same format and the same procedure in solving them. So in the example here, as you can read, Crystal can wax a floor in 16 minutes. One day her friend Perry helped her and it only took 5.76 minutes. How long would it take Perry to do it alone? So basically what we're going to do is set up the equation, and we have Crystal's portion of the combined work plus Perry's portion of the combined work equal the entire job. So what we're going to do is set up the equation, which is 1 over 16, which is Crystal's portion, times 5.76, which is the combined work, plus Perry's portion, which is going to be 1 over P for Perry, times 5.76 equals the entire job, which is 1. Okay, now all we're going to do is just solve for P. And what I'm going to do is multiply both sides by 16P to get rid of the variable in the denominator and put it back into the numerator. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by 16P. And what I wind up getting is I wind up getting 16P times 1 over 16 times 5.76 plus 16P times 1P times 5.76 equals 16P. I can cancel out my 16 here, and I'm left with 5.76P plus, I'll cancel out the P variable here, and I get plus 16.5. I get 16 times 5.76 equals 16P. And that leaves me with 5.76P plus 92.16 equals 16P. I am then left with 92.16 equals 10.24P, or P equals 9. So it takes her 9 minutes to do it by herself. Again, very straightforward. These problems all work the same. So the next problem I'm going to do is a very similar shared work problem. And actually on this, all I'm going to do is just set it up for you, and then you can solve it after we finish the setup. So basically we have that Rob can tar a roof in 9 hours. One day his friend Kayla helped him, and it only took 4.74 hours. How long would it take Kayla to do it alone? So again, we're going to go ahead and set it up, and we have that Rob can do it in 9 hours. So it's 1/9 times the total, which is 4.74, plus Kayla's portion, which is going to be 1 over K for Kayla, times 4.74, and that equals the complete job, which is going to be 1. So that's our basic setup, and now what I'm going to do is take the variable out of the denominator by multiplying both sides by 9K, and we are left with, I can then go ahead and cancel out, so I'm left with 4.74K plus 9 times 4.74 equals 9K. And then all I do is solve for K. So again, as you can see here, here's the basic setup, and then all you simply have to do is solve for k. Our last problem will be an average speed problem. Let's read this problem together. A truck traveled at an average speed of 60 miles per hour on a 200-mile trip to pick up a load of freight. On the return trip, with the truck fully loaded, the average speed was 40 miles per hour. Note on this problem, there's actually some extraneous information that is not used in the problem. The fact that the trip was 200 miles, since we're using average speeds, that information is not needed in the problem. So the first part of the problem is we compute the total distance. So since the total distance is the round trip, and each way is d, the round trip is going to be 2 times d. And that equals the round trip. The total time it takes, we'll use the formula time equals distance over speed. So in this case, the total time that it takes to go on the round trip is the distance divided by 60 miles per hour plus the distance divided by the return trip, which is going at 40 miles per hour. So the average speed is computed by total distance divided by total time. So our equation looks like this. 2d, which is our round trip distance, over our total time, which is d over 60 plus d over 40. And that is our equation. Now, in order to solve this, we have to get rid of the 60 and 40 in the denominator of the denominator. So we're going to go ahead and multiply by the LCD, which is going to be 120. So we'll multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 120. And when we do that, we are left with 240d over 2 plus 2d plus 3d, which equals 240d over 5d, which equals, after we cancel out, 48 miles per hour. And that is our answer. Please note that this is a pretty common problem, whether it's going to be average speed of a truck on a round trip, or a car on a round trip, or a boat on a river, and so forth. So anyway, best of luck on your studying for the test tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow. And again, if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to drop by in the morning.